Might be another week on my computer.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that
I'm not,
okay?
I'm not a Mac illiterate, but we can manage.
Okay,
You don't want me to just try the,
yeah, no, I tried the duplicate, I see that it's on.
Okay.
It's a matter of.
Just restarting, Lane, okay?
Yeah, okay. I guess,
all
yeah, I
good.
can restart this system. Do you know Sarah? Are you getting-
So, do you want to be using the wireless air media?
No, the HDMI. And so I put it on the HDMI cable, plug the HDMI cable in. The computer recognizes that it's plugged in.
So, when all else fails, turn it off and turn it on again.
That's what they've been, okay.
Even before all else fails.
All right.
probably
It's the
an early
IT
step.
Is this, which one do I have plugged in?
or I could just work off of yours for the sake of moving along this
Oh,
morning.
yeah, we still got a couple minutes. I can-
All right. So,
let's see. We'll try this. We'll try it again next week, and then I'll start. This one going. We got 1 minute left.
Restarting here, Lane.
Morning.
Sorry about that.
How are you?
good, you?
Let's get mine. Okay. All right. Go this. And give you control.
Hey, oh, is that you?
that's
Or
you.
is this me?
That's you.
I
So Sarah's
unplugged the
suggestion.
HDMI, but now I just gotta get my own display back.
You command Windows P. There you go.
Okay, so. Okay, so when I did,
There, got it. Just duplicated it, so.
voila.
You're good. Oh, excellent.
All right.
We'll give people a couple more. For those of you online, we'll give everyone a couple more minutes just to come into the room, and then we'll get started. So about 2 more minutes, if you don't mind. Is the feed? I think it should
What
be.
do I need to do then?
So I would like you, if you don't mind.
Not at all. You mean to work with you then? Sorry, because this is.
That's okay. So we'll
Probably.
let you. Well, I'm glad we got yours going, Susan. That's exciting. Okay.
So I am a laboratory person, and either a clinical lab person, and one of our bags is troubleshooting, same thing. Turn it on, turn it off, plug it in, plug it in.
Okay, that's yeah.
It's
That's
just like booted into thinking harder, whatever it is.
Yes.
oh, it's just. Right, I gotta get used to that. Okay. So there's the chat room. And that's live.
All right,
so,
baby,
but
I got that.
just have to go to YouTube, and then you can monitor the chat there.
Do you mean to just kind of, if there's a question? kind of
Yeah,
start
well,
it
yeah,
out,
like
or-
yeah, absolutely. So go to my channel. And
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what is expected.
So you'll see-
Oh, I'll monitor the chat, but what do you want me to, how do you want me to?
Well, like just let them know, like, oh, so just see that we have somebody when we have somebody on.
Okay.
Then we can, just mention that if she's when she's talking, though, we won't interrupt her.
Okay.
Just
I'll
so-
just kind of, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know.
And then-
Yeah. We can get started here.
Okay.
Oh, that everybody, those
Folks
folks
get
sit
a
down.
seat.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, I'm just impressed people are sitting in front though. That's yeah, I figured everyone would be in the back, just way in the back. So can you see her on this?
Hold on,
screen?
I'm,
Okay.
is there any way we can adjust the light at all? This-
Move it away a little. Yeah, it's
No.
the light's
Can I-
horrible.
Can I zoom here?
think if you
or
just touch.
Touch and try to,
Right. Yeah, maybe that.
that's what I'm thinking. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's see, if you scroll over a little further. No, I don't think that's gonna help us.
I wonder if that's kind of a little bit lighter. It's always a play. Yeah.
Be better over here now.
I think the problem is the
The
screen.
conflict with the screen.
The screen is just like, it's auto adjusting for the screen.
Sure.
All right. we'll
Okay,
get
but
started.
Lane, at some point, do you want me to zoom in on the screen when we're doing just screen stuff?
You can try.
Yeah.
Susan,
I'll
you
see.
can
Oh,
do
I
an
see.
introduction.
Sure, sure.
And then, so I'll just, yeah.
I love this little rolling cart.
Thanks, Susan. Absolutely. So can you see me all right?
Yep. Here, come over just a little, there, here we go, Lane.
Okay,
Come on,
right
this
there?
way. Yep.
All right. It's all live, it's fun doing things live. We'll get started. Thank you so much for coming in today to our second active teaching lab. And again, quite the winter weather that we're having, so lots of snow. I really appreciate everyone braving the snow plows and coming out here, so that's really appreciated. Really excited about today's presentation, but before we start, I just wanted to kind of give a quick overview, especially for those who are new here, just to let you know that really what we're trying to create in Active Teaching Lab is a community of learning. So really want people to be able to, instructors and faculty and staff, to come in and be able to learn from each other, and that's kind of the whole idea here, which is why we're going to have different presenters coming up and talking and speaking. So learning from each other, so please feel free to raise hands and talk, and we'll have a time after Susan's done to kind of work on some of the ideas she's talked about and to discuss those as well. So just the kind of a little housekeeping things. So there is on your handout and on the email that I provided, there is login information for the Canvas course. So the Active Teaching Lab Canvas course is online and available, and that will have resources for you, links to the handouts, to the chat room, links to YouTube video as well. So if you're unable to find the YouTube video online, that is going to be available as well through that Canvas homepage. So lots of links to files and documents as well. The handout has information about activities and about today's presentation, so some of the activities that we'll be having today. And if you are watching on a live stream, the handout is available digitally on the Canvas page. So if you need a copy of that, that's available on the Canvas page. There's also a chat on YouTube, though you'll have to log in for that through a Google account. Though if you want to chat and communicate, there's also a chat on the Canvas site as well. So if you're on the YouTube live stream, that's available on the Canvas site. So please feel free to chat. We have somebody monitoring that as well. So Catherine Bukowski is monitoring that for us, and will let us know if you have any questions for us. Speaking of Catherine, so Catherine Bukowski is also is helping out today. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask her in-house or online. She is the instructional technologist of the College of Letters and Sciences, and she's the former manager of Alverno's College's kind of version of CETL as well. So she's an expert in Canvas and pedagogy. So if you do have questions about either of those and you're from the College of Letters and Sciences, please come and contact Kathy. She has her card on the front desk as well. Mine is there as well. If you are out of the College of Letters and Sciences, she can still help you with home repair questions.
Or talk you out of it.
And also bad jokes. I'm told she's an expert at bad jokes as well, so please feel free to come up and ask her about that. Well, today I just really wanted to thank Susan Stalewski for coming in today. She's the Clinical Associate Professor in the College of Health Sciences and Director of Academic Initiatives and Planning. And she'll be talking today about tools to help students with time management. So thank you so much,
Sure
Susan.
thing. Yes. So as Lane said, I'm from the College of Health Sciences, where I teach in the Medical Laboratory Science program. And over the past several years, I've kind of developed a specialty in introductory classes, although I do some upper division programmatic courses in medical lab science, and I also direct our academic initiatives and planning, which is a big catch-all. But within that includes our distance education, and I am our Canvas transition lead for this project. So last week we heard Carol from nursing talk about how modules are set up, and she had some ideas for giving students previews of what would be coming in the class, and so they can kind of gauge their time. And I am here to talk about how to use specific Canvas tools, or how I use them to help students know what's coming next and what is due and so on and so forth. And here's my dashboard. These are the classes I teach. I see Lane has set up an activity for you to customize your dashboard. You can do that, and I kind of like to add discipline-specific pictures to my cards because it cues me and the students into what course they're getting into. And just a little aside, I was really excited that we have an Erlenmeyer class. That's an Erlenmeyer class for the active teaching lab. And here's my lab class, and I have my own, and I thought it was kind of a cool coincidence. So I am going to be demonstrating some of the things that I use in this class, which is a client diversity class. It's a 200 level Gen Ed CD course. We have a face-to-face and an online version. We have about 75 students in the online course. And so let me just dive in and show you what we're doing. And here's the home page, so you can see our announcements. You know, online course, well, for any course, it's really great if you add your own picture to your profile so students get a sense of who you are and what you look like. And that's kind of basic online teaching, but in Canvas, perhaps we hadn't thought to do that, so that's all a suggestion. So last week, when Carol showed us the design for the College of Nursing, it was a little bit different in the modules. I'll show you one that looks more like that. So each item had a place. And I and the people I work with, we do not have a specific design in the College of Health Sciences. Are using a little bit different system. So here's a page. So this is to begin next week. And within that page are all of the things that the student needs to use for learning for this module. So, and then also their assessment at the bottom. So a couple of things that we do to help students in this class is add the learning objectives right to the page. It really gives them an idea of what they should be focusing on. We have a printable learning plan, which is essentially the items for this module, but they can print it out in a little bit different format. Some students like that. And because it's a page, I can add a to-do date. So you can see here's a to-do date. That means the students should complete the items on this page by the due date for the module. And I'll show you why that's helpful. But to add a to-do date, if you're editing the page, so again, this is a page and all of these items are added to the page. You can link them right in the HTML window. And there's a couple of other cool things about that I will show you. But to add a to-do date to the page at the bottom, you can say add student to do. So the effect of that is that this then shows up on student to-do list, it shows up on the calendar and on the syllabus page, which I'll show you in a second. I'm not here about accessibility, but I do want to point out that in this accessibility window, you have an accessibility checker. And what that will do, it's not 100% for everything you post, but it will tell you if you have weird links or strange spacing, the kinds of things that might make it hard for a student who's using a screen reader to negotiate. So it's a little bit of an advantage to using the page and the HTML window to set up your learning materials. Any questions on that? I believe, Lane, is this correct? The to-do in a page is a new feature, newer feature?
It's a newer feature, yeah. It's
To
about
add
last
to-do.
year that they added
Yeah.
that in there.
So all of this is about setting up a date structure for the students so that they know when items are due. And also to give them a preview of what's coming next. So we've always had a paper syllabus, right? And you know, they can kind of see those dates. But how many of you feel your students are examining their paper syllabus carefully and they know what's coming up next? All the time, right? So what I'm trying to do here in Canvas is replicate that a little bit And I'm gonna tell you, I think it works. I was a pioneer, so taught 5 separate Canvas courses, sections, last year. Some of them were sections of the same last semester, which was last year, I guess. And almost 400 students, mostly freshmen and sophomores, and they did great. I believe I've shared this with Lane and maybe Diane. I had less trouble with students figuring out where things were, what to do, what they needed to do next, than I would have anticipated and anecdotally than I ever did when I was using D2L. So I feel that the structure that we have set up, UW system has set up, and the tools available in Canvas have really been helpful. So you can imagine that's a lot of crowd control, that many people, and not a whole lot of course support, maybe 1 TA per class, so not a lot. And it was okay, really manageable, so I want to encourage you about that. So I use, because dates are important, I just want to go through a couple of quick things with you. So when you set up an assignment or a quiz, you have the option to add due dates, and you need to think about what do you want students to have access to ahead of time. It's super helpful if you can build out ahead of time, and even if you're not ready with all of your materials, if you can at least build out your placeholder for your quiz and assignments, discussions, the students can see, oh, I have this coming. The hardest thing is always to make sure all the learning materials are in the right place and what we want them to have. But at least they know they have some things that are due. So in due dates, you have options, and I'm sure most of you know this already, and I'm going to give you my logic. I think you know that you can show the correct answers to a quiz if you want to, and we usually do. The due date, obvious. In quizzes, I will set them up to not be available until the module begins. The purpose for that is I don't want students to go play quiz roulette and try to get all their quizzes done before they've done the quizzing, the learning materials. So I do set an available from date. They can see that this item is available, but they can't get to it to do the quiz. But I do not do an until date, I don't lock it down. And the reason for that is if a student has some reason for being late, or then they have to go and extend their access, if I just leave it open, they can go ahead and take that quiz, but I know that it's late because the grade book marks it as late. So for any kind of assignment, I tend to not lock it down after the due date, mainly because I don't want to have to go back and check, give students extra access or anything like that. So for quizzes, a due date and an available date. Let me just show you what I do for assignments then. So assignments would be papers or discussions or things like that, assignments in particular. So for assignments, I will add a due date, but I will not lock it down. The reason for that is the student knows it's due. I don't really care. We have a book club discussion in this class. If they want to look ahead and see what their discussion prompt is, that's fine with me, right? They can plan ahead if they want to do that. So it gives students that we talk about self-regulation. It gives them the opportunity to plan ahead and to know what's coming next. So I don't lock those down, and I don't lock the modules down either. So, are there any questions about date setting? It's pretty straightforward. You just really need to think about what you're doing ahead of time so that you can determine if you want students to have access or if you want it to be closed until the date that module opens. It's really your choice, and I explain to you why I do it the way I do it. So then, when you have a nice date structure in your course, the students can take advantage of the multiple tools that are available to them in Canvas, and one of them is the syllabus. So I know we've had lots of discussion about what's the point of this syllabus, who uses it, do we like it, do we not like it. So if you have a course that is very chronological and has dates, due dates, which most of us do at UWM, the syllabus can be very helpful to the student. The reason for that, It's right here under the home page, so they can easily click on it. You can add as much information as you want, so you can see here we added, I'm a co-instructor in this course, so we added a welcome message. We posted the downloadable paper syllabus right here, so we have the syllabus attached to the syllabus, which students like. They get a calendar, so the pink day is today. If they would click on that, they could go right to see if there's anything due today, and there isn't. Everything past is gray, so they can go back to the 12th. Yesterday, we had an opportunity for the students to attend a cultural event, which I'm gonna guess probably didn't happen, or maybe it did, I don't know. They have to attend an external activity in this class. So that's handy, very usable for the student.
What was the difference? Why is something's gray and something's white again? What was?
So the
off you
gray,
go down?
the gray are things that are past, and you know what? This must be a due date.
Oh, so on like that
17.
list, the stuff in the gray is the past and then.
Yeah, this is the list, I'll get to that next. Okay, so they have the calendar, they can click on the calendar, it'll dynamically take them to the item. And then following that is what Canvas calls a course summary, and it's a chronological list of everything that is due. Of course, if you didn't build out all your dates yet, they wouldn't be able to see all of those. That's why I encourage even adding, if you have a quiz or a discussion or something coming up, you can build that. Maybe you didn't add your questions to your quiz yet, but you can add a placeholder, quiz 4, and the due dates. So the students will see that in this list. Canvas says this is a dynamic activity or a dynamic resource, meaning you can hot link. This automatically happens, you don't have to do this. So this is populated because you built your due dates in Canvas. So this is the next module that's coming up. So if I click on quiz 3, which is due on March 3rd, oh, I'm not in the student view, my mistake. Here's another tip that I recommend. Always use the student view after you build out to make sure that what you think the student is seeing is indeed what they're seeing. So let me switch. I myself forget that. So here's quiz 3 in module 3. The student can see this, it's coming up. But they'll see that this quiz is locked until February 17th. That's the start of that module. So it's okay if they want to work ahead, but not that much. They go to the next item, they have to do like a personal reflection. It's a semester-long assignment. You can see, I don't care. We're happy if they want to work ahead on this and get started. They can see that this item is available to them and what they should do, and they can submit if they want to. That's fine. That makes sense? So if I go back to the syllabus, again, the same material. The students can see anything that we have built out and put a date to through the end of the semester. Everything is not here because all the pages and the learning materials are not available, but this is kind of like your paper syllabus where you say, I'm gonna have a quiz due on this day, that day, and the other day. So here is what happens when you add a to-do to your page. So here's module 2, communication. I say click on this link to open the page because my experience has shown us in the first few modules anyway, students don't realize to open this, and there's all their stuff. So that shows up also in the syllabus. It's just another indication to the student that everything is here for you. So then the other nice thing about building a good date structure in your course is that the student will see the same things on a calendar view. And it's the same thing, these are dynamic, they can click on this, it will take them to that learning module or that resource or that assessment. The icons give the students an idea. They're not, I don't think they're super visible, but this is a calendar event, so that's just a notice that this thing is available for you to do. There's discussions, so this is the discussion icon, and there's assignments, and then quizzes have their own icon as well. Students can look at this by the week, by the month, which you just saw, and they can also do an agenda item or agenda view, which is pretty similar to the syllabus. So this is the same kind of information they find in the syllabus. You don't have to do anything here. You can add dates if you want to, calendar events or things like that. So for instance, the health professions career fair is coming up. I can add that date to this calendar, and the students will see that. The students, and you can also subscribe to this calendar, so it will show up in your Outlook, iCal, Google Calendar, whatever it is that you use to manage your time. I do mentor students to do that because it can really help them put all of their items in one place. So instead of taking out your planner and writing everything down, they can subscribe. Again, it depends on us to build out a good structure of due dates, and it's not that hard to do. So just like our paper syllabus, we can always say, dates may change, please check frequently, because they do, right? So I'm gonna leave this student view and show you something else about the calendar. I'm not sure what all activities you built out, so I'm just gonna quick show this.
Excuse me. So in the calendar, all the different courses a student is taking will
Yes.
pop up.
Yes,
So all the due dates for all the different courses.
yes. If I can ever get back to my homepage here.
So students see all their courses. Do you
They
have
do.
any recommendations for like helping them not like get overwhelmed by one, the number of material on there, and like maybe also knowing which course is which?
Well, I tell them that the calendar is really, here, I'll go to this calendar when I'm not in the student view, and you'll see what that looks like, potentially to a student.
Color code the subject.
Yeah, it happens automatically. Let me go back to the month view. So these, I have 4 different courses, so you can see this probably kind of what it would look like for a student, or very much what it will look like for a student. So they can see via the color all of the different things that are due. I encourage students to use the calendar for an overview. If they feel really proficient with it, go for it, because they can get the same information. But if they want to look more course by course, to use the course syllabus, and then they, I'm not gonna say that because I'm not sure. So to use the course syllabus, it gives them the same information, but specific only to that course. And to subscribe to the calendar feed. Yep. So the last thing I was going to show you, there's many ways to get the same thing in Canvas, just like there are in all learning management systems. The dashboard, students